If the drop isn't good, then I'm probably not going to finish the song. There's definitely some key ingredients. The way I do it might be for some people a little bit backwards. 5 sounds on top of each other, definitely not unusual. I want it to hit it a little bit harder. I don't want too much bass in the piano. Every sound you add should definitely have a purpose. The next step is to now start to produce out the drop a little bit more. So there's no like recipe of how to, build out a track, but the way I do it might be for some people a little bit like backwards, because I start with the drop and then I maybe go back, work on the chorus, and then go and finish up the verse and maybe start playing around with the intro. And the reason why I do that is because, as I mentioned, I think the drop is, one of the most important parts of the song. So if the drop isn't good, then I'm probably not going to finish the song. So that's why I like to get a good idea of how the drop is going to sound like. And if I like that, then I'm going to continue, working backwards and building out a full song. There's definitely, some key ingredients. It's obviously the piano that we have. It's a melody line. It's a bass. It is a kick drum, and hi-hats, snare. And I think that's like the key elements. And then we're obviously going to try to layer the different elements as much as we feel that we need to. But I think that those elements is always, especially in my songs, they're always in the drop. The first thing that I might do here on this song is I do want the piano, I want it to be a little bit more, I want it to hit it a little bit harder. So I'm probably gonna, I do like the sound of the one we have now, but I'm probably gonna add another one. And I obviously have the sounds that I like, a lot of sounds saved that I like, which is a good thing to do for you guys as well. If you find a piano that you like, in Logic, you just press save channel strip as, and then you can pick the name you want, and then you have it for later. And that's what I've done. I call this piano a piano, which is my like go-to piano. It's Nexus. Wait. It is supposed to be, it is Ballad Grand Piano in Nexus, which is a pretty good piano for chords. It's kind of like powerful. The cutoff doesn't do anything. So I can basically just copy this track from the Waves piano that I recorded. Let's see how it sounds. So that sounds pretty cool. And on top of the other piano sounds like this. And together. So I think they sound pretty good together. I could even add one if I wanted a more, more power in the piano. I could even add another piano, but I might add this one that's called, also from Nexus, called Sun Piano, that I kind of like to have. What I might do for this as well is to remove the sustain, because it might, if the notes are like hanging for like too long, it might get a little bit messy. So I think for this, I'm just gonna take away the sustain that I recorded it with. So, because it also has, a lot of, as you can hear when I stop it, delay and reverb, and I might take that off for now. Inside Nexus, here's the delay, just take that off, The reverb I might want some of it. But I can turn it down a little bit, the mix, so. I think that's gonna sound, I might actually also, just for this, just because I'm gonna add the bass later, so I don't want too much bass in the piano part. I want the bass to play the bass. I don't want this bass line that goes down here to interfere with the actual bass that I'm gonna put in later. So I'm just gonna take out the lower part and just delete it. So it sounds like this. I might actually do the same. I think I'm actually gonna do the same for the piano as well. Because I don't need the darkest piano notes. Because that's probably gonna, it might sound messy when I add the bass and the kick drum as well. So I want the piano to stay in like the mid kind of range. So that's like 3 pianos, which definitely sounds more powerful than just this. So I think that sounds pretty cool. Kind of wanna, wait. I feel like that's like, I can add some stuff that plays together with the chords. That just makes it a little bit more interesting. And now I basically just played almost the same 2 notes. Something like that. Sounds pretty nice on top of this. So if you, oh wait. I think I'm gonna add that. Just gonna record it. Oh wait. Let me do it again. I'm gonna record it now. So I kind of like that. I played one too many. Drag that so it goes the same length. Copy it. And then, of course, do the quantize. I forgot. So you see everything pops into the right place. I think that sounds pretty nice. We might end up adding more pianos later on if we want more energy. But for now, I think that is pretty cool. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit because it sounded a little bit too loud compared to the vocal. And then I might also play around with the melody a little bit more. I do like the sound of the melody. One more of those slide notes. Is it this one? And for this, I gotta experiment a little bit for this, what I want to layer this with, because I definitely feel like it could be you know, more powerful. That melody sounds a little, you know, weak by itself. It needs, if you want energy, we kind of gotta add more stuff. And I guess we could keep the guitar vibe. I have this, which one? I think this is also next, which is pretty nice. I've been using it for a couple of my songs. It's called Undertaker. It's a lot of reverb, might be a little bit too much. But if I try to copy that. So yeah, what I did, if I just mark them all and just Logic, Option Shift, arrow up, then you go up 1 octave, and I think that's pretty cool. I kind of like that. You can even add another one. Let's see. The sounds that I have. To make it a little bit more. I have this one I've been using. I don't know if that fits now, but it's a very... So probably some people recognize that sound from some of my previous productions, but definitely it's a good one to layer on top of something to get... It sounds a little bit more, you know, plucky, like kind of like... So usually every time I have a melody on a drop, I always layer it at least 3, maybe. I've probably had songs with at least like 10 sounds on top of each other. It's just about finding the right sounds and not adding too much. But definitely experiment with adding stuff on top of each other, because it could sound pretty cool. But it could also sound messy if you add too much. I think this one could even have... What I'm thinking for this melody is also I want it to kind of filter in. And I'm gonna do that after. So when the chorus is done and the piano comes in, you should almost like barely hear the melody kind of filter in. That's at least what I'm, you know, visioning in my head, or imagining in my head, which I think is gonna be pretty cool. But I'm gonna go back and show that after. I might add. Let's see here if I want to add. This one might be a little bit too much, but. I think maybe. It's a pretty nice one for energy, but it should be pretty low in the background. It's a sound that I kind of like. It's from Nexus as well. I'm not 100% sure about that one. I'm gonna try another one. Gotta see if there's something that fits a little bit better. I kind of like that plucky, feel that the last one I added had. And there is, for example, a synth in Logic called Sculpture that comes with Logic, which has a lot of great sounds as well. So I'm gonna try one of those. It's a little. That's a pretty nice sound. So those two sound pretty good together. I might actually add one more, because Sculpture has a lot of great sounds. Let's see. I have another one I've saved called Rain Harp. So that's like starting to sound pretty cool. 5 sounds on top of each other, which is definitely not, unusual to have at least 5. If you want like the energy and you want you can have like different sounds. Now there's 2 guitars, there's 3 sounds that's kind of like plucky, dreamy, a little bit delay on them, and I feel like they kind of fit each other pretty well. Could add a piano on top that's playing the melody as well. Could be like a dreamy piano. I know, like Nexus is like my favorite for a lot of stuff, but especially pianos. They have a lot of great pianos. Which one? Could do this one is a very powerful piano called Terminator. Terminator's theme. It sounds powerful. So if you need some energy in your productions, that one is a pretty good one to go to. But I think also for a lead it could work. Need to turn it down. A little bit too much delay, so I'm gonna turn that down. And what's also good about MIDI is that even though I don't like this melody anymore, it's so easy to change it and then record it and then just copy almost the track to these 6 different tracks now, and you get the same sound with a completely different melody. So if later on in when you're producing a song, you get tired of a melody or you don't like it anymore, which is not, it's usually a pretty bad sign for a song. If you get tired of it right away, then other people might get tired of it just as fast. So that might be usually when I make a song and I get tired of it, then I might, reconsider, doing maybe changing the melody, maybe changing the sound, and just continue, to experiment with it until it's a sound that I can listen to for a while without getting tired of it. Usually you are gonna get tired of your own tracks in the end anyways, because you listen to them on repeat all the time. So it is normal as well, and you shouldn't, throw away every track you're tired of, but it might be a sign that, you could maybe experiment with something if you're tired of the track already. But so far, I kind of like the melody. I still like it. I'm gonna try to listen to it with I've muted the vocal, but I just want to listen to all the pianos with the melody. So I kind of like how it's sounding right now. So an important thing when you're layering sounds is that I guess like every sound you add should definitely, you know, have a purpose. Like it's no point just adding sounds just to add sounds. You definitely want every sound you want to add it for a reason. So like when I had this guitar, I wanted it to be pluckier, like to have some kind of like dreamy, plucky sound. That's why I added these other sounds. And then when I added those 3 sounds, and I had the guitar and I had these like plucky sounds, but I still felt like it needed a little bit more, and that's why I added the piano, which I think even I'm gonna play around with the level of the different layers. But I feel like all these, you know, different sounds are adding something to the final, you know, the final lead. And if there's a sound you have in there that doesn't add anything, then you can probably just take it out. So I think that's something to think about. That every you know sound you add should, you know, you should add it for a reason, not just add stuff just to add stuff, because then in the end you might have suddenly added way too much and it sounds messy. So the next thing that I probably gonna do now is to add sidechaining to both the piano and the lead. And that's basically just because I want to hear how it sounds. And the sidechaining is basically when the kick drum comes in, the level of the piano and the bass and the lead is going to go down a little bit. So it kind of goes up and down with the kick drum, which gives it this like pumpy feel. And like every dance song out there has like sidechaining on. And the way I do it, which I find is the easiest way, is let's say I have these 4 different pianos. If I press X, I get the mixing window, and I choose, like mark all these 4, and instead of going to, there's like different ways to do this, and you know, my way might be, you know, there might be better ways to do it, but with the way I do it, instead of sending this is stereo out, the master channel. So instead of going that, I go to a bus. Let's say bus 4, and now I have. So if I take that out, I can go to bus 4, which is this one. It's called aux 1, and solo that. Then I have all the pianos in like one channel right here. So that means I can do, you know, whatever, instead of adding stuff to every different, you know, piano layer, I can just add stuff here if I want it to go to affect all the pianos at once. And that's what I want with the sidechaining. And for sidechaining, I always use this cable volume shaper from Cable Guys, which is a great tool. You can do a lot of different stuff here. I'm going to show you. So this is how it sounds without. And let's say I want it to be very, you know, pumpy. I press this one. That's a little bit too much for this song. This might be something, you know, more what I'm looking for. And I think that's even a little bit much, but this is like I can adjust this just the way I want. So I'm probably gonna like a fun tool. The volume shaper is a fun tool to just play around with. And you can do a lot of, fun stuff with, everything. Basically, you can it's just to be creative and just play around with stuff. But this is like if you want like a 4 and a floor kick, which I'm planning on putting into this song, then this is a good, side chaining for it. You can kind of already hear that it's more bouncy already, even without the kick. So that's what I'm gonna keep the pianos on one track, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the melody, but I'm gonna put that on another track. So if I want like more side chaining or less side chaining on the melody, I'll put it on bus 5. Do the same thing, because then I can control them separately. Add another volume shaper. And usually on the melody, I'm probably gonna have less sidechain. That depends on the song, but right now I feel like, so I'm gonna, because I kind of want the melody to shine through, so I don't want it to go too much down. If I like put it like this, like you lose almost half the melody. So I want to be able to hear the melody, but I do want it still to bounce a little bit. So I'm gonna maybe like this. So that's the one for the melody. This is the one for the piano. So you see that they're kind of similar, but the piano goes a little bit more down. It's like the level of the piano goes almost all the way down. Now I can listen to it again. So now you can hear like it sounds a little bit more, bouncy. You can almost hear a kick drum going under it. So the side chaining is like a very important part of a dance song. It is a very easy part of the dance song. You see, like it's pretty. If you have like volume shaper or a similar plugin, it's a very easy thing to use. There is ways to do the side chaining if you don't have cable guys or another side chaining plugin. There is ways to do it without it. I do find that you get a better side chaining, or at least the way I know how to do it, with one of these plugins. But if you're gonna do it inside Logic, for example, you would need just a kick. And I'm just gonna paint it in because wait, yeah. So this is basically a kick that goes. And I would have this. This could be the kick but now I'm gonna have it as no output because I just want this to go in the background. And then let's say I took this piano. I'm just gonna make a new track so I don't. Stereo out. So I have this track and I want to sidechain it to the kick that goes doing the 4 on the floor kick. Then I would put on a compressor. There's definitely a lot of ways to do this. I have like some saved. One is called like Cut Your Teeth. That was the one I used for my remix of Cut Your Teeth. It's just, you can find tutorials like the threshold and the ratio. I will pick the instrument called Deep House Kit. So now you can hear like, you can get a similar, this kick is going like silent in the background, you can't hear it. about it. So there's definitely ways to do it in Logic as well, but if you can, if you have Volume Shaper, or if you can buy one of those plugins, I would definitely recommend it. But yeah, as I said, as you can see, you can definitely do it inside Logic as well. But I'm gonna delete this now since I already have it. Okay, so now that we have the piano, we have the melody, and it's sidechained, I kind of want to, it's not like sometimes I might do it this way, sometimes I might do it another, like I might add the bass first, I might have the kick first. It doesn't really matter, what order you do it in, but now I kind of want to just hear it with the kick, because it almost sounds like, it almost sounds like there's a kick there already, so I just want to hear what it sounds like. And there's a lot of great sounding kicks in Logic. If you open Ultra Beat, there's a lot of stuff to choose from. Different, hip hop kind of style kick. There's a lot of stuff to choose from. Let's see, I know I've used this one a lot earlier on. Deep house kit. This is just like it's called smooth kick. And another way to find kicks, and that's what I've been doing a lot lately, is from this thing called Splice. I would try to find, I know I've downloaded a lot of kicks here. That I like, and I think I'm gonna, I kind of want just a clean kick. There was one up here that was just clean subby kick. That was pretty good one. And I do like these kicks because they're definitely sound. They bring a lot of energy to the song. So I would, now this is an audio sample, so I have to, copy it one by one, or like this. So this is what it would sound like with the kick. I'm pretty happy with this kick for now. That's also the part of producing, just you might not find you might find something that you like, but that you can leave it there for later, and then you might end up changing it, you might end up not. But if you get too caught up in all the minor details when you produce a song, I feel like it can not ruin it, but it can kind of slower the creative process a little bit. So I kind of like to keep moving forward, and okay, that's the kick, I like it, move on to the next part, instead of getting too caught up in finding the perfect, using an hour to find the perfect kick right now. But I do like this one, so I might end up keeping it, but that's also just in general, I think it's good for the creative process to just keep going, get stuff get an idea down, make it sound like a pretty cool, what I did with the lead sounds and the pianos. I might end up adding stuff to it, I might end up taking stuff away, changing it, but for now, it's good as it is. So with this song and this tempo, which is 116, I feel like a 4 on the floor kick fits very well. It works very well on the dance floor. If you want to, playing a DJ show or whatever, it usually works very well. So that's why I immediately, when I heard the song, I felt like this drop is, I'm gonna stay, 4 on the floor. But there's obviously so many rhythms you can do. You can have, it doesn't need to be 4 on the floor, You can do like halftime. You can do there's a lot of stuff you can, you know, play around with. But for this song right now, I feel like 4-on-the-floor kick was the way to go. So that's why I just added that. And I also, you know, on this sample that I found from Splice, it was pretty long, as you can see. And I don't want it to be this long, you know. And it seems like it's just like a silent, it's not really any sound after this part. But I don't even want it to go that long. I want the kick to be kind of like snappy. So that's why what I did was I shortened it like this, around there somewhere. So the next part, I think I'm gonna add the bass. There's definitely more there. There's, from the way I see it, I think there's at least like 3 more layers that I definitely need to add to this drop. That's the bass, which is obviously very important, hi-hats, and a snare. I think it's gonna sound nice. So I'm gonna add the bass, and there's a lot of stuff to choose from, like bass-wise. I've been using, like this one called, what is it called? It's from Silent. It's called Impressum. Pretty good bass, like all around. I've been using it for slower songs. I've been using it for more upbeat songs because it's with the cutoff that I'm adjusting here. It could be a pretty like a pretty cool like bouncy bass. And if I need it to be like more, if I need it to be punch, like more like if I need more energy in it, just put the cutoff way up. So this one is like a good like all-round bass that I've been using a lot. So let's see how that sounds. I think I just want to play it on top of the piano right now. I think now either way, like I think I'm gonna end up doing that, but I can play it together with the piano, so I play the same rhythm. Which is probably gonna sound the best, but you can also have fun with it and jam like in a different rhythm again. In this tempo, that might be tricky. That's why I usually like, if I make a song that's slower than like 105, I usually like when the bass is playing something different than, like a different rhythm than the chords, because it kind of like, the song gets a little groovier. But in this tempo, it can sound a little messy, but first of all, it's also way too loud, this bass, but it could be cool. But I think for this song, I'm gonna keep the bass, it's gonna play together with the chords, because I feel like that sounds cleaner right now. And I'm also gonna add sidechain to the bass. And I might just actually add the same amount of sidechain or actually, I'm going to put it on its own track. I could put it on the same bus as the piano, but I think the bass, I want it to be even more sidechained so it doesn't interfere with the kick drum. So I'm going to put it on bus 3. I think that one is actually going to go all the way down. So every time the kick comes in, the bass almost goes all the way down in volume. So I'm just going to record that. Quantize. Just added like a little bit, like a detail at the end there where it just plays together. So it goes up 1 octave. It's just, I just felt like that could sound pretty cool. So you can like hear it every time the kick comes in now, the bass kind of goes out. And then with the piano and the kick. So it's starting to sound pretty cool. Sometimes I also add, could be cool for this song as well, I'd sometimes add just like to get, you know, more, if I want more bass in the song, you can like turn up the bass and turn it up all the way, but I kind of like to add a sub just going under the bass. And it could be very low, but on like a proper, you know, proper speakers with like a proper subwoofer, it can definitely make a difference. And I have that as my go-to like sub. I don't know why I haven't saved it, so I just have to find it. But it's in Nexus again, factory presets, bass, and this is called Sine. So if I go all the way down, it's like almost, a room is almost like shaking. So I might not need to go all the way down there. So I might stay up here somewhere. And this also needs to be sidechain a lot, because or else it's gonna interfere with the kick. Because the kick obviously is almost at the same, you know, frequency level. It's like very deep. And if you have two things that are like competing with each other, it's just gonna sound messy. So I'm gonna put this to bus 3. So you can hear like the, so we play this together with the kick. It doesn't sound like, to me at least, it doesn't sound like it's interfering with each other because of the sidechain. So I'm gonna actually record that. Okay, I think that sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna do it with a. So I feel like that adds another level of energy to the song. It adds like that darker bass. So that's with the sub, and that's without. I might have to turn it down a little bit, but I definitely like to, I usually do that. If I want more energy in the song, I add a sub. And I'm also just playing long notes. It could play the same as the bass. Could probably sound pretty cool, but right now I feel like it can just be long notes under. So for the bass, the safest, you know, ways to add the bass is to play the root notes of the chords, which in this case is. But then you can, maybe not for this song, because I feel like this one doesn't need that much bass, but you could, to make it more, you know, funkier or like more disco vibe. Like add more like the octave. And then you can also play around with some, you know, passing notes, or as I just did, I did. like a lot of stuff you can. Now I didn't have the right tempo, but wait. So you can like play around with some different notes, but to make it sound like funkier. But for this song, I'm gonna stick to the root notes and kind of have, you know, a simpler bass line that follows the piano. The next step now, I would maybe add a snare at some point, but I think I want to add some hi-hats and stuff. That usually also adds energy to the song. And I like in almost every song I have hi-hats going together with the kick drum, because it's gonna make the kick drum sound better as well. So I have this one this is like one of my go-to like samples inside of Logic. It's called Bavarian Drums 03, which is just wait. So I kind of like the sound of that, but I'm gonna delete. I don't want it to go that often. I just want it to play together with the kick drum. So now I just deleted half of the hi-hats, so it sounds like this. So like with the kick drum, that sounds like this. And then I also, kind of a trick I have as well. I have this is also a sample that I've saved. Also some hi-hats. They don't really, you know, sound that interesting by themselves, but I feel like if I add them like very low in the background, under the kick as well, it sounds pretty cool. So I kind of like that. And yeah, this is obviously stuff that I've, you know, saved because I've used it before and I like it and I like the sound of it. So it's, again, like every time you find something, a sample or a sound that you like, make sure to save it for later. Because it's always good to just have some go-to stuff. And then obviously you should keep on experimenting, but if you have like some standard stuff you know that sounds great, then it just makes the process way easier, and yeah, you don't have to stop up all the time to find hi-hats or whatever, or a snare. You know that, okay, I liked it, like this is a snare, and you can put it in just temporarily, or you can end up using it. I definitely want some more hi-hats, more of a like busy. I could add a shaker. Which I think is gonna sound pretty nice as well. A little bit lower. I might add even more basic. I like that one as well. It's almost like this, like a little bit the same as the shaker, but that could also be a little bit lower. Might even add, I have this drum kit called acoustic drums. That's from Logic. That I know has some sounds that I like. I've used these a lot. The bongo drums or steel drums, but I'm looking for something like that. Kind of like that one. I have some stuff already added to this because I've saved this channel strip, so I have like a delay, but I feel like I don't really need it, so I'm gonna turn it off. I have reverb to make it sound a little like wider, dreamier, better, and a sample delay, which basically, I guess what it does is it just delays one side of the audio, so it makes it sound a little bit wider, more like stereo. Without it, it sounds like very like centered, and with it, it sounds more almost like it's like jumping back and forth. So I'm gonna add this sound. I'm just gonna record it with the keyboard. So I just do like 4, and I can loop it, and then quantize, loop it. So kind of like that, together with definitely getting there. I think we should definitely add a snare to this song. And I kind of like when I'm working with, like, as you saw, when I'm working with hi-hats, I just have the kick. I don't need to have all the other sounds of the song, because I kind of want to hear the beat by itself. So now I've soloed just the kick and the hi-hats. And then we want a snare. And again, Logic has a lot of great stuff in Ultra Beat. I might look here as well in Splice, because they do have a lot of great stuff. I guess right now I'm kind of open for trying out some different snares. I haven't really decided what kind of snare I want. If it needs to be more like a punchy, you know, hard snare, or if it needs to be like a reverby kind of. I love like 80s snares, but I don't know if it fits this song, but like snares like that, love that. So what I do when I have all these samples, I just go down, find maybe 5 or 6 that I like, and I just put it into a project, and then I can decide which one I'm gonna use. That was pretty cool. Sometimes I end up, you know, finding 10 different snares, and none of them fit the song. So I'm like, after I've been looking for a while, I will listen to every snare like soloed out, and I don't like any of them. So it's kind of just like trying and failing, and hopefully finding the right one. So now I have 6 different snares. So first thing I'm gonna do is, you can see like some of these are longer than others, and I don't need them, like the snare doesn't need to be that long. It can be a little bit, it can be, let's say like this. And then I might do the same thing with the fader, so it doesn't have any clicking sound at the end of it. And obviously it's not gonna be on the one, it's gonna be kick, snare, like on the second kick. And then I'm gonna just loop, oh wait. There we are. I'll loop this a couple of times so I can listen to it. So this is the first snare. Doesn't sound too bad. It's definitely like a 80s vibe snare, which I kind of like. So I don't know if it's a song, but I will just listen to it different. that one. That one's a little bit too dry. Could add some reverb to it, but that one could be cool to layer with some of the other ones. So I think this one, which doesn't sound like, by itself, it sounds kind of, doesn't add that much to the song. Sounds pretty nice, but I kind of want something more. Not sure if that one works. It's not too bad. Like you can definitely layer up snares as well. So this is like, it's like 4 snares on top of each other, which sounds pretty nice. You have like the 80s one with that one, that one. I actually don't mind that, the sound of that. It's a little loud. The snares is usually like a part of this, like a part of an element I turn like up and down like so many times. Definitely doesn't sound too bad. So what we have now is obviously the chorus, and then it goes straight into the drop with the full production, like the kick, the snare, the hi-hats. And that's not gonna be the case. I wanna, you know, like build it so it kinda like comes in a little smoother, but we can just have a listen to it to see, you know, how it sounds.